Net zero is just, by 2050, is not a policy, it's the bare minimum framework you have to work under. And if Susan Ley is saying that's up for review, I mean, she might as well say the sun coming up tomorrow is up for review, or the sky being blue is up for review.
Oi, wake up Australia, because we're getting absolutely stitched up and no one's bloody talking about it. You reckon we've got an energy policy? Nah, mate. What we've got is Chris Bowen playing pretend Prime Minister with a fantasy wish list from a climate cult cookbook. The bloke's got a bigger ego than a footy player on Mad Monday, and he's treating your power bills like Monopoly money. While you're sitting in the dark, wondering why the lights went out, again, this joker's out here claiming he's got a mandate to push even harder on his renewables only wet dream. A mandate? He spent most of the election hiding like a dodgy tradie dodging an invoice. Before we rip into Bowen's $600 billion green fantasy, where net zero is gospel, nuclear is taboo, and even Twiggy's walking away, hit that like button like you're slapping a carbon tax on your own wallet. Subscribe if you're done paying for political delusions, and cop the promise never delivered truth tea. Links in the description before they ban it. But here's the kicker. Now, just a week ago, he's back in the media doing his victory lap like he just discovered electricity. Mate, the only thing he discovered is how to spin bullshit so fast the wind turbines might actually work for once. And guess what? Labor's still riding the lie that net zero by 2050 is non-negotiable, as if it's some kind of divine commandment from the sky gods. Nah, mate, what it actually is a ticking time bomb under our economy, with you, me, and your nan footing the bill for their green fantasy land. The same fantasy where electric cars magically work in the outback and where solar panels can power smelters during a cloudy winter's night. Look, let's be real. The wind and sun are free, sure, but building a power grid that works off their mood swings? That's the opposite of free. That's billions in taxpayer dollars, burnt faster than a snag on a Bunnings BBQ. Transmission lines, backup batteries, firming gas plants, subsidies for Tesla drivers in the burbs, all paid for by the average Joe, while the suits in Canberra pat themselves on the back. And Bowen, bless his cotton socks, keeps peddling the line that Australia's got the best wind and sun in the world. Mate, what are you on about? Have you seen Morocco? Ever been to Scotland? They've got wind coming out of their ears. We've got a desert and a coastline, sure, but we also have blackouts every time the grid sneezes. Maybe fix that before comparing us to bloody Scandinavia. Oh, and while we're here, let's talk nuclear. Yeah, the dirty word in Aussie politics. Labor reckons building a couple nuclear plants would cost us $600 billion. $600 billion. That's more than the NBN, Snowy 2.0, and every other failed infrastructure project combined. But hang on, if nuclear is so expensive and dangerous, why are 30 other countries using it right now? Why are 20 more building reactors while we're here slapping solar panels on retirement homes and hoping for the best? Truth is, nuclear's not the problem. The real problem is political cowardice. The coalition got spooked by some Greenpeace flyers and now they're too scared to even say the word reactor. And Labor? They're still running on talking points from 2007. It's like watching a footy match where both teams forgot the rules but keep yelling at the umpire. But don't worry, the experts have spoken. Except no, they haven't. What they've actually said is, if you accept net zero without nuclear or gas, then yeah, this is what it'll cost. That's not a recommendation, that's a bloody warning. That's like saying, if you insist on swimming with sharks and don't wear a cage, you might get bitten. And here's Bowen diving in headfirst without a helmet yelling, "Progress!" And still, he's acting like people voted for this. As if mums in the suburbs went to the ballot box thinking, you know what, I'd love a higher power bill and a bunch of transmission towers in my backyard. Rubbish. People voted Labor because they were scared the Libs would privatise Medicare again, or maybe just because Albo didn't sound like a robot for once. Nobody, and I mean nobody, voted specifically for Bowen's Green Utopia. In fact, they hid the 2035 emissions targets during the campaign. They were legally supposed to release them in February. Didn't. Why? Because they knew people would freak. Instead, they sent out Matt Keane, the Liberal turned Greenie, to say, "Oh no, can't do it right now," because Trump pulled out of the Paris Agreement. What the hell has that got to do with Aussie voters? Are we now outsourcing our climate policy to Florida? But the government doesn't care. They're rolling ahead anyway. Bowen's now talking up electric vehicles like they're the second coming. Says the top 3 suburbs using the EV discount are Balcombe Hills, Marsden Park, and Kellyville. And that proves what exactly? That rich suburbs love a handout? If EVs are so good, why do they need subsidies? If solar's so cheap, why do we pay more for it? It's like saying a meat pie is Australia's favourite food, and then giving it away for free to prove the point. And while we're on meat pies, let's not forget the damage this is doing to actual industries. Agriculture? Getting smashed? Manufacturing? Already half dead. Small businesses? Struggling to pay power bills that used to be pocket change. All while Bowen keeps talking about green jobs like they're growing on eucalyptus trees. Now even Twiggy Forrest is backing away from the hydrogen fantasy. Remember that? Green hydrogen. The silver bullet. Billions poured in. Now jobs are getting cut. And investors are fleeing faster than a roo near headlights. Because surprise, surprise, it doesn't work. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But don't let facts get in the way of a good press release. Even Tony Blair, a former Labor Prime Minister, reckons net zero as a system goal is doomed to fail. Doomed. That's from one of the original climate believers. And we're out here pretending we've cracked the code. And you know what? Maybe that's the point. Maybe this isn't even about saving the planet. Maybe it's just about control. Keep us scared. Keep us broke. Keep us believing that government is the only way out of the mess they created. Meanwhile, the rich buy their Teslas, get their solar rebates, and laugh all the way to the grid. You and me. We're the ones paying for it, both literally and figuratively. So yeah, call it controversial. Call it a rant. But don't call it wrong. If the coalition doesn't find some guts, and fast, they're done. If they can't tear Bowen's nonsense to pieces, they might as well pack up and let the Greens run the whole circus. And hey, if you're sick of the lies, the spin, and the smirking faces on the telly, you know what to do. Smash that like button, like you're slapping a carbon tax out of existence. Subscribe if you're done with political theatre and want actual accountability. And grab the merch. Promise Never Delivered Truth. Wear it to your next family BBQ and see who gets triggered first. Because this isn't just about power bills. It's about power. Full stop. Stay angry. Stay sharp. And remember, the only thing greener than Labor's policies is the cash they're bleeding from your wallet.